monstrosity. Boy, that flew. Well, sometimes when they're hit, they stay hit. Kieran Tierney.
Welcome to After Extra Time, the World Football Podcast. After the monotony of the international break and the Queen's untimely death, the EPL is back, and so are we. So with that in mind, let me introduce the author of Transatlantic Passage, How the Premier League Redefined Soccer in America, the sportsbank.net Supremo, and my good friend, Mr. Paul M. Banks. Paul, how you doing, mate?
Well, in the words of Green Day, wake me up when September ends. Because what a boring ass month for world football. I mean, crazy.
Yeah, there's been no decompressed time in front of the box watching my team play. I think Liverpool have played twice this month, maybe 3 times, and it's just been a nightmare, mate. But we're back now, and I'm excited for it, mate.
Yeah, it's cool. I mean, the thing about international breaks is I love when you start doing preview material on a Wednesday or like a Tuesday, because you've already done like a week of like scraping stuff off the bottom of the barrel to qualify. Like in the words of Kent Brockman on The Simpsons, I think you'll agree this barely qualifies as new.
I think you're being a bit hard on yourself there, mate. You did do a great job of just keeping people across the latest team news. So you can check out all those articles on the sportsbank.net. But we got some previews up there as well now, mate. We're back in the swing of things. It's going to be a hectic October.
Yeah, that's the flip side of this. It's going to be absolute fixture congestion, and festive period fixture congestion is coming. I don't know how it's going to work with the World Cup break. I guess the festive period is going to be a little bit later than usual, but that's the thing. It's like, how are they going to jam all this stuff in now?
I'll tell you what, I think our fingers might fall off from typing so much comes towards the end of the year, mate.
You know, it's really kind of starting to hit home with me now. Like the idea of like maybe my alma mater playing in a college football game on the same day that like the US are playing a World Cup group stage game. And it's like, you fuckers, like, did you really have to do this? Like, God damn you. Like,
I'm a bit of a traditionalist, mate. I don't know. It just doesn't feel right waiting for a World Cup to start in November, right in the middle of the season.
All right, it's time for the winners and losers segment. A segment that is so popular, it can't even walk down the street in its home country without being mobbed by supporters. So why don't you start us off? Put your best foot forward, lead with strength. Who are you going with?
Okay, mate. I know you've seen the run sheet, so this will be no surprise to you, but it might be a surprise to the listeners out there. My winner is Liverpool, simply because they've had some time away from the game with the postponements from the Queen's passing away and the international break. I think a lot of first team players actually didn't travel for international duty this international break, so they've had a lot of time on the field. It's well documented how rubbish Liverpool have been to start this season. And I think some time on the training pitch is exactly what they need. So Liverpool's my big winner this week.
Rock solid choice. I mean, you know, out of anybody that standed to need time off to heal, they certainly did. And, although in editing and posting your previews today, it definitely sounds like you're kind of concerned about this weekend.
Brighton are a little bit of an unknown, and Liverpool aren't the Liverpool that we know from the last 5 or 6 years. So it'll definitely be a tough game. We'll see how it goes, but I'm erring on the side of positivity, which is different from me when it comes to Liverpool. So hopefully they don't let me down. But that's enough about me, mate. What about you? What have you got for your winner this week?
I'm going to go with my team as well, but I'm going to fixate on one player, and that's Christian Eriksen. He was trending quite a bit on Twitter during our national break. putting in 2 solid games for Denmark, scoring a goal for the Danes. That was part of it. Another reason he was trending is just I saw a lot of United fans. The new narrative is Christian Eriksen is an upgrade over Paul Pogba. And that talk about value. I mean, okay, you could definitely say so far that he was the steal of the transfer window in terms of free transfers. He could go down to be one of the best free transfers in club history. And then you got to realize that Pogba broke the record, and he was the most expensive player ever for a while, for a couple. Well, no, Neymar broke it the next summer, but still the most expensive Premier League buy for until Jack Grealish came along. Still the most expensive United player ever. And with Eriksen, it's great. He plays as a false 9. He plays an attacking mid. He plays a defensive mid. He's like a Swiss Army knife, and he has a lot of different utilities and abilities, and just a great story. Beyond all that, beyond all the football, what a great story he is, given all that he went through to come back.
Yeah, absolutely. That's when I saw this on the run sheet, that was the thing that really resonated with me. The fact that, it wasn't that long ago that, I mean, let's not mince words here. We thought he died on the pitch at the Euros, and, he's scoring against the world champions, man of the match for Denmark in back-to-back games. He's got a World Cup to look forward to. He's a pivotal piece in Erik ten Hag's Manchester United side. Manchester United seem to have turned a little bit of a corner, since he's joined the team, really. It's just a fantastic story. I wish he wasn't doing it for Manchester United, but if I could take my tribalism away from it, mate, it is just a fantastic story and a great pick for your winner this week.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
Absolutely. I'm glad you appreciate it.
No, I mean, we talked about like Eriksen being, whether he was even going to live, let alone play football again. And just what a great comeback story. But, it's interesting in that you've got some symmetry going on between your winner and loser.
I really do. My loser is Brighton. Now, this happened a few weeks ago when Paul was moving house. Thomas Tuchel was sacked by Chelsea. And this connects. Don't worry, I'm just going the long way about it. They hired Graham Potter to take the Chelsea job, and the work he's done at Brighton is well documented. I think we've spoken about it plenty of times on the pod too. He was fantastic for Brighton, and left them in a great. Definitely coaches always talk about, I just want to leave the team in a better place than when I got there. He left them in 4th place in a Champions League spot, albeit early in the season. And now they've got Roberto De Zerbi, who I have actually never heard of before in my life. So I'm kind of winging it here. I think Brighton is my loser this week, and probably for the last few weeks, because they've lost probably one of the best English talents in the managerial game.
That's a fitting choice. That's a great choice, actually. I hope we're going to have a year here where we really do see an outlier slip in. And Leicester, Leicester won it one year, and then they competed for top 4. Then they came be kind of established. But I would love to see somebody get in, at least to the Europa League. And if that's Brighton, it's going to be hard now. It's going to be really hard.
Yeah, it's going to be tough. I'm with you, man. I like seeing the outliers in there. And, just because I've picked them as my loser this week doesn't mean that I don't hope that they have a fantastic season. I just think it's going to be tough for them without Graham Potter. Your loser, though, Paul. It's broad, but very pertinent. Why don't you lay it on us?
Yeah, I'm going with a deeper thing here. I'm going with a concept instead of just a person. But I think it's pretty obvious who triggered it. I think it's obvious. I'm going with nepotism in sports because, we're taught, certainly in this country, certainly in America, but really kind of in the Western world, or really the English speaking world about work hard, play by the rules, get ahead, the meritocracy. And you think, what's more of a meritocracy than sports? It's all about who's the biggest, fastest, strongest, most talented, most disciplined. And just whenever I see Greg Berhalter, United States men's national team head coach Greg Berhalter, all I see is, your brother was the number 3 or number 4 ranked man in the entire corporate hierarchy of the U.S. Soccer Federation. And he got you in, and he got you the gig to be head coach, and you suck. And the team is, they went this international period, they didn't score. They can't score away from home. They can't win. They can't do anything outside of American soil. And that was one, but it's pretty prevalent. It just feels like for me, the sports, the leagues that I pay attention to that are close to me, I see a lot of it. Notre Dame football. Notre Dame is located, fairly close to where I live. I go out there, I cover games once in a while. Their new announcer this year is this 27-year-old guy whose dad was an NFL receiver and then became a broadcaster. And he's, this guy was doing high profile gigs while he was still a college student at Notre Dame. And then they put him on Sunday Night Football for the NFL, and he's on the desk next to another guy whose dad was a quarterback and then became an NFL announcer. He's Phil Simms. Phil Simms is a pretty polarizing figure. He's a well-known NFL announcer. His kid, Chris Simms, is on the desk. And then Iowa, college football, Iowa, borders Illinois. There's a lot of Iowa fans around. Their offense is terrible. It's a joke. The offensive coordinator is the head coach's son. So, yeah, so you see where I'm going. It's just everywhere.
It's always been a, like you said, a meritocracy. Easy for me to say. But it definitely seems like jobs for the boys has become a theme in the 21st century. And I think you hit the nail on the head with Berhalter. I think, international football in general, it serves up some head scratches. Recently over here in Australia, we had Gus Hiddink come back for 2 games as an assistant to the Australian coach Graham Arnold. And then I found out in my research that he's actually the national coach of a different country at the same time. So it is bizarre, and it does permeate outside of soccer, absolutely. And it's just shitty to see people who, haven't paid their dues, haven't earned it. Just getting work in the industry by virtue of knowing someone or being someone's son or daughter. It's a terrible look.
Yeah, it comes in 2 forms. It's like, this Notre Dame announcer, he sounds just like his dad. His dad's an okay announcer, and it's like it's not like he's terrible, but it's like, well, there's 1,000 other people that are just as good as him, if not better. And then, but with Berhalter, it's like the guy's actually bad. It's not like, oh, he's as good as everybody else, but he got to jump the front of the line and didn't have to put a resume in because of who he knows. It's like he's actually bad.
Yeah. I was surprised. I'm sure. You edit and post my previews that are right, and I thought the United States would take care of Japan pretty comfortably, and that is not how it played out.
Granted, it's just a friendly, but you want to have momentum. Are they going to turn it on?
You talk about turning it on. I think in international football, just international representative international sports is probably the hardest field to just turn it on because you don't have the training time together. You said they're just friendlies, but I feel like they are crucial friendlies, across the globe, like not just for the United States. Teams, just wanting to get their ducks in a row with regards to the World Cup coming up in believe it or not, it's only about 6 weeks away. So, I think that the United States, to bring it back to your point about nepotism in sports and Greg Berhalter and stuff, the United States might be paying the piper for the nepotism at this World Cup if the last friendlies are anything to go by.
Also doesn't help that your national team captain is at a low in his career. And granted, it's on the club side, but confidence is confidence, and he's lacking it. And that's like the last thing you want in your leader right now.
It's time for the armband. You should know by now what it's all about, but because I'm a good guy, I'm going to explain to you what it is. It's a moment from the last week, or in this case, few weeks in football, that we would like to discuss, something that caught our eye. It might be good, it might be bad, it could be, somewhere in the middle there. But that's what the armband is, and there's a bit of symmetry with your comments on Berhalter and how poor the United States were with who you're gifting the armband to this week, Paul.
Yeah, it's interesting. These things really work together. There's a lot of cohesion going on. I am going with yet another English-speaking country that's obsessed with sports, where colors are red, white, and blue, with a shitty national team manager. It was kind of funny to see Sancho and Rashford trending, or maybe it was Rashford and Sancho, but it was pretty much just a bunch of United fans or England fans or whatever tweeting Sancho and Rashford avoided relegation. And then I guess there were jokes about Harry Maguire being relegated again. I don't know enough about UEFA Nations League. I just know that England got relegated. I know that England, like the US, again is in a scoring drought. It is in a winning drought, and Southgate, for his credit, has said the right things in press conferences about he'll take the heat and he'll deal with it. But as well he should, because he deserves it. Because he left Sancho out. He kept Harry Maguire. And, Maguire is another name that's always trending because it's people talking about how much he sucks, and he does. My moment is here. My moment would be, they've got so much youth, and you had a surprising Final Four appearance at the 2018 World Cup. Mm-hmm. Then you go to the Euro, you take it to penalties. To win in the championship. You think you're just getting closer and closer and closer to finally ending that trophy drought, and now you're kind of going backwards.
Yeah, absolutely. England are in a bit of strife, and if I could reference a conversation we had off mic prior to recording, I ranked the Nations League at the same level as the UEFA Conference League. I don't give a shit about it. But the fact is, England did get relegated. They're into Tier B or something now. I don't know. I don't even know what that means. But I guess, in a way, England are maybe coming towards the end of their cycle under Gareth Southgate. People thought that it was, an upward trajectory, semi-final appearance, losing final appearance. You finish that sequence with a final victory, perhaps, but it definitely seems like it's going the other way. They can't score goals. They can't win matches. And one thing that Southgate has been praised for is he picks his squads on form, apparently. And, there's been... I did know the number, but it escapes me right now. There's been a ridiculous amount of players that have been given a chance in an England jersey. And I think a little bit of the issue is, there hasn't been any consistency with the squad. And, England are a bit of a shambles, much like the United States heading into the World Cup.
Yeah, it's pretty funny how they're going to meet. And I believe the second group stage game, or maybe the third. I think it's on Black Friday. It's on the day after Thanksgiving, and there's so much symmetry in a bad way with these two squads.
Wouldn't it be interesting if both sides were already eliminated from the World Cup when they face each other? That's a great pick, though, Paul. Gareth Southgate and his problems with the England squad. My moment is in a bit more of a positive note, and I know that you can that you can sympathize with this, or not sympathize? That's the wrong fucking word. I know you feel the same way about this. Football is back. Finally, it feels like we've had another off season, and now real Premier League football is back. I can't wait to get into it, mate.
Yeah, that's the best way to put it. It does feel like another off season because the Queen dying and then that like wiped out an entire week. And when you wipe out a weekend of action, what you're actually doing is creating like a 2-week break, sort of. And then we had one with the international break, and then to make it the last week heading in, United and Chelsea were off. So it was Liverpool, so it was Brighton, Leeds.
Yep.
Like what the hell, man?
So I know I think it's the same for Manchester United, and it's no surprise to anyone here. Paul is a Manchester United fan. I am a Liverpool fan. Manchester United haven't played in the league since the start of September as well, right?
September 3rd.
Yeah, so there you go. For us, just as fans, I mean, I know that we work and we write, we podcast about things outside of Manchester United and Liverpool, but as far as our fan brain goes, I guess we haven't been able to enjoy any football for quite some time.
I don't know. It's good. Now we're going to have the other issue coming up where it's going to be the fixture congestion, where we're going to be writing previews all week, where you've got, and actually, no, that was happening before. There was like a weird stretch there where it was like stuffed in like a sausage, where it's like there's 2 league games this week, and then the next week it's Europe and it's a league, and you're at a point where you're just, I mean, I don't know, for our listeners, unless you have a blog of your own or a website of your own, you're probably not going to care about this and be able to relate to it. But for us, it's like you're just doing the same preview or keeping the same thing, or you just gotta like combine 2 into 1 because who has it's like an all or nothing.
Yeah,
and
all or nothing is perfect. It's a perfect way to put it. We're either just sitting in park enjoying a cheeseburger, or we're driving 160 kilometers an hour. Football is back. We'll enjoy it this weekend, and I'm sure by the time next week's pod rolls around, we will probably be like, can we have another break, please?
Yeah, how true is that? It is now time for a rapid fire English Premier League preview. The way this works is I say the fixture and Stu gives us a winner and a 1-word reason why. I'll also chime in with my thoughts from time to time when I feel like it. All right, ready, Stewie?
Ready, mate. Let's get into it.
Okay, well, while we have been waiting for football and there hasn't been a lot of football, we are very lucky in that we have 2 headliner fixtures this weekend. So I'm going to start with the first one, and it is the very first game to kick off, the North London Derby. Hit me with your pick and why.
Arsenal 2-1. I think they're genuine title contenders. They have, yeah. I think I'll just leave it at that. I think Arsenal are genuine title contenders. Who you got for this one, Paul?
I'm going to go with Arsenal as well. I do think they've turned the corner now under Mikel Arteta. And while I do think Tottenham is for real, I just think the way this is going to work out is each team wins in their home stadium.
Yeah, I agree.
Next, we've got the match that you've alluded to earlier, and that is your boys, your winner, and also your winner and your loser for this week.
Yes, it's Liverpool-Brighton. I've really agonized over my choices for my winner and loser. I agonized over my preview because, I'm very superstitious. So I don't want to jinx them. But I do think Liverpool will win. And I think it'll be simply because Jurgen Klopp has had time to iron out the mistakes of the start of the season.
I think they'll win courtesy of VAR pool. So yeah, we'll see. Next, we've got Fulham hosting Newcastle.
Newcastle, Alexander Isaac. That's why they will win.
Yeah, Fulham is high up in the table. So this would be like the surprising teams cup. I mean, both are a lot better than we expected, but I'm gonna go with Fulham.
Okay, interesting. Just looking at the table, just on this one real quick, I'm surprised to see that. I'm actually quite surprised to see how high up the table Fulham are. They really are going well. You could have me on that one, Paul.
I thought that was like a misprint or something. But no, I mean, it's not like the COVID year where like you've got like one team that's played 3 more matches than the team below them. Everybody is, we've had some cancellations, but they're most on equal footings. So it's earned.
Absolutely.
The next one, we have our first Who Cares Cup. Southampton hosting Everton.
I'm going to go draw, and who cares? That's my reason why.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Who Cares. Take all 3 points here. Who Cares for the win? Next, we go to a London derby. Chelsea visits Crystal Palace. The last time Chelsea played a London derby, they and the officials solidly defeated West Ham. So what do you see here?
Chelsea will win, and that's simply because historically they have a tremendous record against Crystal Palace. Crystal Palace aren't bad, but I feel like Chelsea are going to turn a corner a little bit. Last time Crystal Palace beat Chelsea was 2-1 at Selhurst Park in 2017. I don't see that happening again. Chelsea for the win.
Yeah, I agree on that. Next, we go to another London team, Brentford, heading to the South Coast to play lush tropical Bournemouth. Remember their jerseys, the like Hawaiian Jimmy Buffett style? Sure.
I love that. That's brilliant. I wish I had something to add to that, but I think you nailed it. It's perfect. So I'll leave the perfection alone. And as far as the prediction goes, I think Brentford will win. Bournemouth are relegation fodder, and Brentford aren't, and that's why I think that they'll pick up an away win.
Let's just hope Brentford can stay hydrated by having to travel so far south and adjusting to the heat in the rainforest there.
Shit. Okay.
Next, we're gonna check in with one of our favorite people on the planet, or one of our favorites, David Moyes. His Hammers will host Wolves.
Wolverhampton will win because West Ham are going to be relegated this year.
No, I'm picking West Ham. I think they got this. I think West Ham's going to finish 15th or 16th. They're going to stay up by like a couple points.
Yeah, well, you are a big David Moyes fan, so that prediction does not surprise me.
Yeah, I always think of that hilarious photo that I use all the time from 2014 where I think you know which one I'm talking about, where
it never fails to give me a laugh, that one. I got to tell you, mate, it's a great picture.
It's I believe it was Paddy Power. I think it was the Irish sports book. I think they went up to it. They put they sent a guy in a Grim Reaper costume. They bought him like a first row seat right behind the dugout. And it's just like the day before he got sacked.
All right, mate. Next up, this is a huge game, right? You must be just pumping to see this one happen.
Yes, absolutely. Leicester City and Nottingham Forest. Nah, just kidding.
You're on fire.
Yeah, for somebody who's like sleep deprived and overstressed about all kinds of other things, I'm like Krusty the Clown tonight.
You're fucking nailing it, mate.
Yeah. So, the Manchester Derby, and as Ice Cube or Kevin Hart once said, this is like Blood's Crips, red versus blue. They hate each other. The rivalry.
Well, going on with that, mate, I think the Bloods are going to get a victory. I think Manchester United will win here. They've really turned a corner. I'm super impressed with them. Manchester City have to lose sooner or later. And of course, they do have the cheat code, Erling Haaland, in their attack. So I think this will be a goal fest, but I think Manchester United might get the chocolates, mate.
It's really weird. Despite, I actually put this in my book, Transatlantic Passage, and I actually do this in a lot of my previews sometimes too. If you took like the spread of how many points City have finished ahead of United in the table, like say the last 5-6 years, and it's, like something crazy, like you had a couple of years where the spread was like 20-30 points or whatever. But if you look at the spread of the results, it's almost even on goal differential, and like United have pulled off so many upsets. And I'm counting like some of the draws as being like upsets. So it's not like, despite City, like, the noisy neighbors leapfrogging them, not head to head, not at all. So I'm going with United as well.
Yeah, I think United will get the win, and that'll give, if our predictions go the way that we've called them, that'll give Arsenal a healthy lead at the top of the table too.
Right. And yeah, don't you love the way I slate my stats is like, like a bunch and some. And who needs like actual numbers? It's like, like a shitload versus like a smidgen.
You can use stats to prove anything. 14 of people have proved that, mate. So
a Simpsons we have, another Simpsons reference. Oh, you can use statistics to prove anything. 14% of people know that.
All right, mate, let's wrap this up with these last two games. There's a couple of who cares in there, but we need to do the right thing and do a preview of them.
All right, yeah, exactly. Jesse March and his Band of Merry Yankees, Band of Merry Americans versus Aston Villa.
So I'm going to go Leeds, United States of America, mate, and simply because I like what Jesse Marsh is doing there, and I'm starting to question Steven Gerrard's the job Steven Gerrard is doing at Aston Villa.
Yeah, I would say the next guy on the chopping block is probably going to be Brendan Rodgers, and if not him, then Steven Gerrard.
Interesting.
Which takes us to our last game. Brendan Rodgers still has a job, and he's hosting Nottingham Forest.
Listen, I think that Leicester should win. This is tough. Honestly, I'm not sure what's going to happen here because Leicester is so trash. Nottingham Forest haven't been great either. What I will say about this game is if Forest win, that's the death knell for Brendan Rodgers at Leicester City.
I would agree with that.
All right.
And I kind of agree with what you said on a previous episode. I think he wants the sack by this point.
Yeah. Just some of the noises he's making in press conferences and stuff. You definitely get that vibe coming from Brendan Rodgers at the moment. So next up, it's fast becoming the fans' favorite segment of this podcast. It is not football related at all, but people love it and they just want more. It's also my co-host's favorite part of the podcast. It is the Pop Culture Corner, Paul's Pop Culture Corner. We got some more right alliteration there. We might need to work on it a little bit. We'll try and get some more P's in there. It's fast becoming a hit, mate. Paul, what have you got for your legions of fans in the Pop Culture Corner this week?
Well, while this is traditionally a non-sports segment, we are going with a sports theme here, but it's a different sport. And last night, Aaron Judge of the New York Yankees tied Roger Maris, also of the New York Yankees, with 61 home runs in a season. exactly 61 years after Roger Maris hit exactly 61 in 1961. So I am going with the film Billy Crystal directed. It is called 61 asterisk. And the asterisk refers to that season, Roger Maris. They gave, I mean, they made during the season, they said, you know, like if you can, any record, baseball used to play 154 games. Then in 1961, they expanded the season to 162. So naturally, now Roger Maris hit his 61st on the last day of the season, and he didn't even hit 60 and 154. So his 61 has an asterisk. And then there's a debate about, do you take the asterisk away? I think maybe it was. And then you've got like all the steroid nonsense, where, you know, forever it's been 61 for 35 years. And then Mark McGuire hit 70 and Sammy Sosa hit 66 and a bunch of guys hit 60. And then 3 years later, Barry Bonds hit 73. And it's like this whole, these guys, you know, I mean, they're human science projects. They're like, their heads are growing 2 or 3 sizes in middle age. And you got like this like skinny little scrawny guy who's now 300 pounds and ripped out. And it just made the whole thing a freaking joke. So I'm pretty sure Aaron Judge is being tested very, I would think he'd be tested even more rigorously right now. So for him to get there and do it naturally, I think is awesome. And it was just really, with Aaron Judge and watching that happen, good to flashback to 1961 to see the Yankees doing it then. And it was like a pretty good movie that, you know, it was a good movie. I don't know how historically accurate it is. I think it is historically accurate. And, you know, it doesn't have any real big stars. Barry Pepper looks a lot like Roger Maris. The guy who played Mickey Mantle did a good job. They portrayed Mickey Mantle as the philandering, groupie hound, corn dog, boozer, alcoholic that he was. So they portrayed Roger Maris as like a sullen, kind of surly, non-media friendly kind of blah personality, which in fact he was. But you know, just kind of like, this is something like, if you guys ever do this for goals on film, this movie set a record for, hey, I've seen that guy in something, actors.
Well, baseball is well and truly out of my wheelhouse, just by virtue of you and my co-host on Goals on Film, Jace, who is he's a big baseball guy as well. I am aware of Aaron Judge. Congratulations to him. It's fantastic. And you were telling me once again off mic that there's a little bit of time left in the season. He might even hit a 60-second home run. And we were discussing about how great it is to see history play out in front of your eyes. It's one of the beautiful things about sport. And the other thing I wanted to say, to your point about the things that you mentioned, there's a lot of symmetry there with the number 61.
Yeah, isn't it crazy how it's a Yankee? All 3 home run chases, legit home run chases, not the steroid thing. You had Babe Ruth hit 60 in 1927. Lou Gehrig hit 47, his teammate. So he was kind of pushing him. 61 is about not just Maris, but Mickey Mantle, who got hurt and fell short, but he finished in the high 50s. Aaron Judge is actually doing it by himself. There's no one pushing him, but he's got a teammate, Giancarlo Stanton, who hit 59 in a previous season. So the 61 and 61 years later is just crazy. And I just want to reiterate again that if you watch this movie, it really is hilarious to be like, oh yeah, I've seen that guy. He was this guy and this guy, or like, I've seen that guy was in this one, and you don't know the names of any of the actors. You have no idea what any of the names of the actors are, but you're like, oh yeah, there's the warden from Shawshank Redemption.
Well, there you go. That's Paul's Pop Culture Corner. 61, Billy Crystal directed film about Roger Maris hitting 61 home runs in the 1961 season in tribute to Aaron Judge, who has hit 61 home runs 61 years later.
Well, that is it for another week. As per usual, follow us at our Twitter account at @AfterET_podcast. I'm sorry, no one likes underscores, but we do what we have to. Or follow us each individually at Stewie is Sick of It and at Paul and Banks. You can also follow Edge of the Crowd on most social media channels. Check out edgeofthecrowd.com, Australia's leading sports news and pop culture website. Be sure to get all your latest football news at thesportsbank.net. And while you're at it, add at the Sportsbank Official on Instagram. Finally, show the third member of the pod some love. He was quiet again tonight. By following at Otis Ginger Tabby on Insta.
Where's Stella's Instagram, Paul?
And I'm also waiting for her to chime in on the podcast too. So it's just, she really has the hound dog, like howl at the moon kind of bark. But it's really great. Like, woo, 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 woo. Even that didn't wake her up. Finally, if you enjoy the podcast, please click that subscribe button. And if you really dig it, please take the time to give us a 5-star rating. Until next week, he's Stuart Kavanaugh. I'm Paul M. Banks, and this has been After Extra Time.
He has nailed that. Sheer ferocity. Boy, that flew. Well, sometimes when they're hit, they stay hit. Kieran Tierney. It's a headline start for 2020.